The retribution descended through the planet's atmosphere like a whisper of death, its hull temperature perfectly regulated to avoid thermal detection. Marcus guided the ship through storm clouds that provided natural cover, while his enhanced senses monitored dozens of sensor frequencies simultaneously. The Vex-Carry detection grid remained oblivious to his presence, their automated systems fooled by technology they couldn't comprehend. Landing in a canyon 12 kilometers from the mining complex, Marcus emerged from his ship as it began its camouflage protocol. Nanomaterials flowed across the hull surface, transforming its appearance to match the surrounding rock formations. Within minutes, the retribution became virtually invisible to both visual observation and electronic surveillance. The ship would wait in silent readiness, prepared to extract him or provide fire support as needed. Marcus began his approach through the rugged terrain, his enhanced physiology allowing him to traverse obstacles that would challenge a normal human for hours. His modified muscle fibers generated strength far beyond baseline human limits, while improved cardiovascular systems provided endurance that bordered on supernatural. Each step was calculated for maximum efficiency, his neural implants processing topographical data to determine optimal routes. The assault suit's surface shifted constantly, matching the coloration and texture of rocks, vegetation, and shadows. Advanced optical systems observed his environment from multiple angles, feeding data to processors that predicted the most effective camouflage patterns. He moved like a ghost across the landscape, leaving no traces of his passage. The first Vex-Carry sensor array appeared ahead, its crystalline structure pulsing with energy as it scanned the surrounding area. Marcus studied the device through enhanced vision, analyzing its operational frequency and detection algorithms. His neural implants contained detailed specifications for this particular sensor model, obtained through intelligence operations on other worlds. Defeating it would require precise timing and technical skill. He produced a small device from his equipment pack, its surface covered with alien symbols that had been reverse-engineered from captured technology. The hacking tool interfaced directly with his neural implants, allowing him to process code at superhuman speeds. Within seconds, he had identified the sensor's security protocols and crafted an infiltration program specifically designed to exploit known vulnerabilities. The device projected a focused electromagnetic pulse that temporarily disrupted the sensor's primary systems while inserting malicious code into its operating matrix. To external observers, the array would continue functioning normally, but it would no longer detect objects matching Marcus's biometric signature. The hack was elegant in its simplicity, using the Vex-Carry's own confidence in their technology against them. Moving deeper into the complex's outer perimeter, Marcus encountered his first patrol. For Vex-Carry soldiers moved through a predetermined route, their energy weapons ready but their attention focused on obvious threats. They had grown complacent during the occupation, expecting any resistance to come from poorly armed human insurgents rather than enhanced operatives with superior capabilities. Marcus observed the patrol from concealment, noting their movement patterns and communication protocols. His enhanced hearing could detect their conversation despite the distance, automatically translating their language through neural implants. They discussed routine matters, shift schedules, equipment maintenance, complaints about the boring nature of guard duty. None suspected that death was watching them from mere meters away. The enhanced operative could have eliminated the patrol easily, but his mission parameters emphasized stealth over confrontation. Unnecessary violence would alert the garrison to his presence, compromising the intelligence-gathering objectives. Instead, he waited for them to pass before continuing his approach toward the mining complex's primary facilities. The industrial section sprawled before him, massive processing plants working around the clock to refine extracted materials. Human workers moved through the installations under constant surveillance, their movements tracked by automated systems and Vex-Carry overseers. Marcus counted approximately 2,000 prisoners in the immediate area, all showing signs of malnutrition and exhaustion from forced labor. He identified several key targets among the Vex-Carry supervisors, noting their rank insignia and apparent authority levels. These individuals possessed intimate knowledge of the facility's operations, making them valuable intelligence sources. However, interrogating them would require isolation from their security systems, a challenging prospect given the complex's defensive arrangements. A transport convoy approached from the direction of the fortress, carrying what appeared to be fresh supplies and personnel replacements. Marcus analyzed the vehicles through enhanced vision, noting their armor configurations and escort arrangements. The convoy represented an opportunity to gather intelligence about the fortress's defenses and, possibly, infiltrate their command structure. His neural implants began developing an infiltration plan, processing dozens of variables to identify the optimal approach vector. The fortress sat atop a steep mountainside, its defenses oriented toward obvious attack routes. However, enhanced operatives weren't limited by normal human capabilities. Marcus could scale the cliff face using equipment and techniques that would be impossible for conventional forces. The communication intercept system built into his neural implants detected transmissions between the fortress and orbital platforms. Princess Zarathal was coordinating defensive preparations, clearly concerned about the mysterious approaching vessel. Her orders revealed useful information about the garrison size, deployment patterns, and command structure. Marcus filed the intelligence for later analysis while continuing his reconnaissance mission. A commotion near one of the processing facilities caught his attention. Vex-Carry guards were dragging human prisoners toward a central area where other workers had been assembled. Marcus recognized the setup from intelligence reports, a public execution designed to reinforce discipline through terror. His enhanced vision could identify the prisoners clearly, noting their civilian clothing and obvious exhaustion. The enhanced operative felt the cold calculation of his modified mind weighing options. Intervention would compromise his mission and, potentially, doom thousands of other prisoners, but, allowing the executions to proceed violated fundamental human values. His neural implants processed the moral equation with machine-like efficiency, reaching a conclusion based purely on tactical considerations. Mission parameters took precedence over individual lives. The intelligence he could gather might save millions of humans across dozens of worlds, making the sacrifice of these few prisoners at acceptable cost. This reasoning felt alien to his original personality, but the enhancement process had restructured his decision-making systems to prioritize optimal outcomes over emotional responses. Marcus observed the executions with clinical detachment, noting Vex-Carry crowd control techniques and security protocols. The aliens used energy weapons that vaporized their targets instantly, leaving nothing behind but traces of ionized particles. The human witnesses showed predictable signs of terror and despair, exactly the psychological effect the Vex-Carry intended to achieve. The princess's voice echoed across the complex through amplification systems, delivering a speech about the futility of resistance and the benefits of cooperation. Her words revealed important information about Vex-Carry psychology and command philosophy. They viewed other species as inherently inferior, incapable of meaningful resistance against superior technology and organization. This arrogance represented a weakness that could be exploited by properly trained operatives. After the executions concluded, the human workers were returned to their duties under increased supervision. Marcus noted the additional security measures, updating his tactical assessment accordingly. The Vex-Carry were clearly nervous about something, possibly the mysterious ship their sensors had detected. Their fear would make them more dangerous but also more predictable in their responses. He began his ascent toward the fortress, using specialized climbing equipment that left no traces on the rock face. His enhanced strength and endurance allowed him to scale surfaces that would challenge experienced mountaineers, while his neural implants calculated optimal routes based on geological analysis. The assault suit's camouflage adapted continuously, making him virtually invisible against the stone. The fortress's outer defenses became visible as he climbed higher, revealing weapon emplacements and sensor arrays positioned to guard against aerial assault. Marcus studied each installation through enhanced vision, noting firing angles and coverage patterns. His neural implants contained detailed specifications for Vex-Carry defensive systems, allowing him to identify vulnerabilities that could be exploited during infiltration. A maintenance shaft provided access to the fortress's internal systems, its entrance protected by electronic locks that would challenge normal human technology. Marcus deployed his hacking tools, interfacing directly with the security system through his neural implants. The Vex-Carry code was complex but predictable, following design patterns that human intelligence had analyzed extensively. Within minutes, he had gained access to the fortress's internal network, his consciousness expanding through digital pathways that connected every system in the installation. The experience was intoxicating, granting him godlike awareness of the enemy's capabilities and weaknesses. His enhanced mind processed terabytes of data simultaneously, identifying critical targets and escape routes. The princess's personal chambers were located in the fortress's highest tower, protected by multiple layers of security that would challenge even enhanced operatives. Marcus began planning his approach, noting guard rotations and surveillance patterns. Princess Zarathul represented the highest value target on the planet. Her elimination would send a powerful message to the Vexcari Empire about humanity's evolving capabilities. However, his primary mission remained intelligence gathering rather than assassination. The princess possessed knowledge about Vexcari military operations across multiple systems, information that could prove invaluable for planning future resistance operations. Capturing her alive would be exponentially more valuable than simply eliminating another enemy commander. Marcus entered the fortress through the maintenance shaft, his assault suit automatically adjusting its surface properties to match the internal environment. The corridors were designed for beings larger than humans, their scale emphasizing Vexcari physical dominance over other species. However, this advantage became a liability when facing an opponent who could move through spaces they considered too small for meaningful threats. The internal security systems were formidable by normal standards, but Marcus's enhanced capabilities allowed him to bypass them with surgical precision. His neural implants processed the fortress's defensive algorithms in real time, predicting patrol routes and sensor sweeps with perfect accuracy. He moved through the installation like a ghost, leaving no evidence of his presence. Intelligence gathered during his infiltration revealed the true scope of the Vexcari operation on this world. The mining complex was part of a larger strategic plan to strip resources from conquered territories, feeding an industrial machine dedicated to further expansion. Millions of humans across dozens of worlds labored in similar facilities, their lives sacrificed to fuel an empire built on systematic exploitation. The data also contained references to enhanced human military capabilities that had recently emerged in other sectors. The Vexcari High Command was clearly concerned about reports of impossible human victories, defeats that defied their understanding of the species' limitations. They had no idea that their enemies had transcended normal biological constraints through technological enhancement. Marcus reached the lower levels of the fortress, where additional intelligence suggested the presence of high-security detention facilities. If human prisoners were being held for interrogation or special purposes, they would be located in this heavily defended section. Rescuing valuable personnel could provide both humanitarian benefits and tactical advantages for the resistance. The enhanced operative prepared for the next phase of his mission, knowing that each step deeper into the fortress increased both the potential rewards and the risks of discovery. Princess Zarathul was somewhere above him, unaware that her carefully protected domain had been infiltrated by humanity's answer to Vexcari supremacy. Soon, she would learn what happened when an apex predator encountered something even more dangerous than itself. The detention level revealed horrors that even Marcus's enhanced emotional dampeners couldn't entirely suppress. Human prisoners hung in energy restraints that kept them suspended in constant agony, their bodies subjected to Vexcari interrogation techniques designed to break both spirit and sanity. The aliens had been conducting systematic torture for months, extracting information about human resistance networks and hidden colonies. Marcus moved through the cell block with deadly purpose, his enhanced senses cataloging every detail of the atrocities. The princess had been thorough in her cruelty, using psychological manipulation alongside physical torture to maximize suffering. Children were held in sight of their parents, their cries serving as leverage during interrogation sessions. The clinical efficiency of the operation revealed the depth of Vexcari contempt for human life. In the central interrogation chamber, he found evidence of the princess's personal involvement in the torture sessions. Video recordings showed her directing the sessions with scientific detachment, adjusting techniques based on subject responses. She had been experimenting with human psychology, developing new methods of breaking resistance that could be applied across the empire. The research had produced detailed psychological profiles that would make future conquests even more devastating. A survivor in one of the cells caught Marcus's attention, her eyes still showing intelligence despite weeks of systematic abuse. The woman was clearly military personnel, her bearing unchanged despite her horrific circumstances. Marcus recognized her from intelligence files, Commander Sarah Chan, a resistance leader who had been captured during the fall of the Rigel system. He approached her cell cautiously, aware that his enhanced appearance might terrify someone who had suffered extensive trauma. The energy restraints holding her could be disabled using his hacking tools, but removing her would compromise his stealth mission. However, the intelligence she possessed might justify the risk of exposure. "Commander Chen," he whispered, his voice modulated to avoid triggering security sensors.
"I'm with the Enhanced Operations Division. Can you move?"
Her eyes focused on him with effort, recognition dawning slowly. "Enhanced, we heard rumors."
"Volunteers who? What did they do to you?"
Marcus began working on the restraint system while monitoring security frequencies for signs of alarm.
"Neural augmentation, genetic modification, cybernetic integration."
"I'm no longer entirely human, but I'm still fighting for humanity." The restraints deactivated with a soft hiss, lowering Chen gently to the cell floor. Marcus caught her as her legs buckled, noting the extensive injuries that would require medical attention. Her condition was serious but not immediately life-threatening, indicating that the Vexcari wanted her alive for continued interrogation. "The others," she gasped, gesturing toward neighboring cells.
"Scientists, engineers, children, they're planning something massive. Industrial expansion using human expertise."
Marcus processed this information while helping her stabilize. The Vexcari were apparently moving beyond simple resource extraction, attempting to utilize human knowledge for technological advancement. This represented a significant strategic shift that required immediate attention from resistance leadership. "I can't extract everyone without compromising the mission," he explained, his enhanced vocal cords barely producing sound.
"But I can gather intelligence that might save millions more."
Chen nodded weakly, understanding the harsh calculus of their situation.
"Princess Zarathal has been coordinating with other sectors. They're planning synchronized strikes against remaining human strongholds.
The data is in her personal systems."
This intelligence confirmed Marcus's primary objectives while adding urgency to his timeline.
The princess possessed strategic information that could prevent future massacres, making her capture or elimination critical to human survival. He helped Chen to a more comfortable position before preparing to continue his infiltration. "Stay hidden," he instructed.
"If the opportunity arises, I'll return for evacuations."
"But my primary mission takes precedence." The enhanced operative left the detention level with newfound determination, his modified neural pathways processing the emotional impact of what he had witnessed. The enhancement protocol struggled to maintain clinical detachment in the face of such systematic cruelty, but his mission focus remained intact.
The princess would answer for her crimes, one way or another.
Security grew heavier as Marcus ascended toward the command levels, with Vexcari guards stationed at every checkpoint. Their weapons were capable of penetrating most human armor, but his assault suit incorporated alien materials that could deflect their energy discharges. More importantly, his enhanced speed and reflexes allowed him to avoid detection entirely, moving through gaps in their patrol patterns that normal humans would never notice. The fortress's command center occupied an entire floor, its walls covered with holographic displays showing tactical information from across the sector. Marcus observed the installation from concealment, noting the positions of high-ranking officers and security personnel. The princess was visible at the center of the room, coordinating defensive preparations while reviewing intelligence reports about the mysterious approaching vessel. His neural implants began analyzing the displayed tactical data, automatically copying everything visible on the holographic screens. The information revealed the locations of other prison facilities, deployment patterns for Vexcari fleets, and strategic plans for future expansion. This intelligence alone justified the risks of his mission, potentially saving countless human lives. Princess Zarathal's conversation with her military commanders revealed growing concern about recent human activities in other sectors. Reports described impossible tactical victories, suggesting that humanity had somehow developed capabilities beyond their previous limitations. The princess was clearly frustrated by the lack of detailed information about these new threats. "Deploy additional reconnaissance units to the system perimeter," she commanded, her voice carrying the authority of absolute power. "If this vessel represents some new human capability, I want comprehensive analysis before it reaches engagement range. Marcus noted the timing of these orders, calculating how they might affect his extraction plans. The Retribution's stealth systems were superior to anything the Vex carry possessed, but increased patrol activity would complicate his departure. He would need to accelerate his timeline or risk being trapped on the planet when his ship was discovered. The princess dismissed her subordinates, leaving her alone with a small security detail while she reviewed private communications. Marcus recognized the opportunity he had been waiting for, the chance to confront his primary target without excessive collateral damage. His enhanced capabilities would allow him to neutralize the guards quickly, but capturing the princess alive would require precise execution. He began moving through the command center's maintenance areas, using his hacking tools to disable security sensors along his route. The Vexcari had designed their systems to be tamper-proof, but human ingenuity combined with enhanced processing capabilities proved superior to their security measures. Marcus ghosted through their defenses like they didn't exist. The princess's private office occupied the fortress's highest level, accessible only through heavily secured corridors that would challenge conventional assault teams. However, Marcus had studied the facility's architectural plans during his approach, identifying alternative routes through utility passages and emergency systems. His enhanced physiology allowed him to traverse spaces that the Vexcari considered too restrictive for meaningful threats. As he approached his target, Marcus activated the specialized equipment designed for high-value prisoner extraction. Neural inhibitors would prevent the princess from accessing her biotechnological enhancements, while restraint systems could hold even Vexcari strength. The interrogation drugs in his kit had been specifically formulated to work on their alien physiology, ensuring compliance without causing fatal reactions. The princess's office was a monument to her personal achievements, decorated with trophies from conquered worlds and holographic records of her military victories. Marcus studied these displays while planning his approach, noting the casual cruelty with which she regarded the destruction of entire civilizations. Her psychology profile indicated complete absence of empathy, making her particularly dangerous even as a prisoner. Zarathul sat behind her crystalline desk, reviewing reports from across the sector while monitoring communications with Imperial Command. Her forearms moved gracefully as she manipulated holographic interfaces, processing information with the efficiency of a trained military commander. She appeared completely unaware that death had infiltrated her inner sanctum. Marcus prepared his equipment while observing the princess through enhanced vision, noting her physical capabilities and potential weapons. Vexcari nobility possessed personal defensive systems that could deflect small arms fire, but his weapons had been specifically designed to penetrate their protective measures. The real challenge would be subduing her without causing fatal injuries that would eliminate her intelligence value. He emerged from concealment with inhuman speed, crossing the office before the princess could react to his presence. Neural inhibitors activated the moment they contacted her skin, sending electromagnetic pulses through her nervous system that disrupted her biotechnological enhancements. The princess collapsed forward, her body paralyzed but her mind remaining fully conscious. Princess Zarathul of the Vexcari Empire, Marcus announced, his voice carrying the cold authority of enhanced humanity. You are now a prisoner of the human resistance. Cooperation will determine whether you survive this encounter. The princess's eyes blazed with fury and disbelief, her mandibles clicking in agitation despite her paralyzed state. She had never been vulnerable to any enemy, protected by technology and bodyguards that made her effectively untouchable. The concept of being captured by a supposedly inferior species challenged her fundamental understanding of reality. "What are you?" she managed to whisper, her vocal cords barely functioning under the neural inhibitor's influence. Marcus activated his interrogation equipment while maintaining surveillance of the surrounding areas. His neural implants monitored dozens of communication frequencies, ensuring that their conversation remained undetected by Fortress security systems. "I am what humanity becomes when pushed beyond the breaking point," he replied, injecting her with compounds that would ensure truthful responses. "I am the consequence of your empire's cruelty, refined into a weapon specifically designed to destroy everything you represent." The drugs began taking effect, causing the princess's pupils to dilate as they interacted with her alien biochemistry. Marcus had tested these compounds extensively on captured Vexcari soldiers, perfecting their effectiveness while minimizing the risk of fatal overdose. The princess would remain conscious and capable of communication, but her ability to resist interrogation would be severely compromised. The mining operation is part of a larger strategic plan, Marcus stated, beginning his systematic extraction of intelligence.
Detail the scope and timeline for industrial expansion across human territories.
Zarathul struggled against the drug's influence, her enhanced willpower fighting the compulsion to cooperate. However, the compounds had been designed specifically to overcome Vexcari resistance, using their own biological processes against them.
Within minutes, she began providing detailed information about empire-wide operations and strategic objectives.
The intelligence proved even more valuable than Marcus had anticipated. The princess possessed comprehensive knowledge of planned attacks against human strongholds, resource extraction operations across dozens of worlds, and internal political conflicts within the Vexcari hierarchy.
This information could reshape the entire strategic balance of the war.
As the interrogation continued, alarms suddenly echoed throughout the fortress. Marcus's enhanced senses detected increased activity in the communication networks, suggesting that his presence had finally been discovered.
The enhanced operative began rapid contingency planning, weighing extraction options against the intelligence gathering opportunity.
"Your ship," the princess slurred through the drug's influence.
"It's not showing on our sensors anymore. How is that possible?"
Marcus realized that the retribution had been discovered despite its advanced stealth systems, possibly through passive detection methods that his intelligence had not anticipated. His extraction timeline had just accelerated dramatically, forcing him to choose between continuing the interrogation and ensuring his escape with the intelligence already gathered. The fortress's defensive systems activated around them, energy shields rising to prevent unauthorized departures while security teams began systematic sweeps of all levels. Marcus found himself trapped in the highest tower of a fortress designed to be impregnable, facing thousands of enemy troops with only his enhanced capabilities and determination to guide him home. Marcus completed the data extraction from the princess's neural implants while fortress alarms shrieked around them. His enhanced processing capabilities downloaded terabytes of strategic intelligence in seconds, including fleet deployments, industrial targets, and the locations of high-value human prisoners across the Empire. This information would revolutionize human resistance capabilities if he could deliver it successfully. The princess remained conscious but paralyzed as Marcus prepared her for transport. Enhanced operatives had successfully extracted high-value prisoners before, but never from a fortress of this magnitude while under active siege. His neural implants calculated dozens of potential escape routes, analyzing structural weaknesses and defensive blind spots with superhuman precision.
"You're enhanced human," Zarathul whispered through drug-impaired speech. "There are others like you. Our intelligence networks detected anomalous activities across multiple sectors." "How many?"
Marcus ignored her question while monitoring security communications through his neural interface. Vexcari search teams were converging on their position with systematic efficiency, using thermal sensors and life sign detectors to narrow their search parameters. His assault suit's camouflage systems were sophisticated, but they couldn't hide two life forms indefinitely. The retribution situation had deteriorated rapidly.
Long-range sensors detected multiple Vexcari patrol ships converging on its position, forcing the automated systems to initiate emergency protocols.
The ship would attempt to reach the extraction point, but success was no longer guaranteed. Marcus faced the possibility of being stranded on an enemy world with thousands of hostile forces hunting him. He activated explosives placed throughout the fortress during his infiltration, targeting critical systems and structural supports. The detonations began in sequence, creating confusion and limiting the defenders' ability to coordinate their response. Emergency lighting replaced normal illumination as power systems overloaded, plunging sections of the fortress into darkness that favored his enhanced vision capabilities. Princess Zarathul struggled against the neural inhibitors as explosions shook the building around them. "You're destroying everything," she protested weakly.
"The prisoners below will die in the collapse."
Marcus had calculated this possibility during his tactical planning.
The detention level was structurally reinforced and separated from the main fortress by emergency bulkheads. The prisoners would survive the controlled demolition, though their rescue would require additional operations by future human forces.
Your people chose to use them as human shields, he replied coldly.
Their deaths rest on Vexcari conscience, not mine.
He lifted the princess with enhanced strength that made her considerable mass manageable, while his assault suit extended additional camouflage coverage to partially conceal her form. The extraction route led through maintenance corridors toward the fortress's emergency systems, where structural damage would provide access to the exterior cliff face. Vexcari security teams moved through the corridors below them, their search patterns revealing professional competence despite the confusion. Marcus avoided direct confrontation while navigating toward his objective, using his enhanced senses to detect enemy movements before they could detect him. The princess's weight slowed his progress, but eliminating her would compromise the mission's intelligence value. The enhanced humans represent an existential threat to the Empire, Zarathul continued, her drug-impaired mind struggling to process their situation.
Our strategic planners never anticipated this development.
Your species was supposed to be limited by natural biological constraints. Marcus reached the maintenance shaft that would provide access to the cliff face, noting that his explosives had successfully damaged the fortress's structural integrity.
Cracks appeared in the walls around them, suggesting that the building's collapse would occur sooner than anticipated.
They needed to reach the exterior before the tower's integrity failed completely. Your planners made one critical error, Marcus replied while preparing his climbing equipment.
They assumed that intelligence without enhancement represented the upper limit of human capability. They never considered what we might become when properly motivated.
The descent down the cliff face challenged even his enhanced capabilities while carrying an unconscious prisoner. His modified muscle fibers provided supernatural strength, but the princess's weight and the damaged assault suit's coverage systems created variables that required constant adjustment. Enemy searchlights swept the area below, forcing him to use shadows and rock formations for concealment.
Halfway down the cliff, his neural interface detected the Retribution's emergency transmission.
The ship had successfully evaded the patrol squadrons and reached the extraction point, but orbital platforms were moving to intercept its departure vector. Marcus had approximately 30 minutes to reach the rendezvous before his ship would be forced to abandon the mission. The princess regained partial consciousness during the descent, her enhanced physiology beginning to overcome the neural inhibitors. Marcus adjusted the drug dosage to maintain her compliance while continuing the dangerous journey down the mountainside. Her awakening represented another variable that could compromise their escape if not properly managed. "Where are you taking me?" she asked, her voice growing stronger as the drug's effects diminished. "Humanity requires answers about your empire's strategic capabilities," Marcus replied. "Your cooperation will determine your survival prospects." Zarathul's mandibles clicked with returning awareness as she processed their situation.
"My people will never negotiate for my release.
Imperial doctrine prohibits compromise with inferior species.
They will write me off as an acceptable loss."
Marcus had anticipated this response based on Vexcari's psychological profiles. Their rigid hierarchy valued empire over individual survival, making traditional prisoner exchanges unlikely. However, the princess's intelligence value transcended simple diplomatic leverage. Human scientists would learn valuable information about Vexcari biology, technology, and strategic thinking through careful study. They reached the canyon floor as Vexcari aircraft appeared on the horizon, their search patterns expanding outward from the fortress. Marcus's enhanced hearing detected the Retribution's engines approaching the extraction point, their distinctive harmonic signature masked by storm systems moving through the area. The timing would be critical, requiring precise coordination between his movement and the ship's arrival. The princess's neural inhibitors were wearing off more rapidly than anticipated, possibly due to biological differences that his intelligence hadn't fully characterized. She began struggling against his grip, her forearms possessing considerable strength even in her weakened state.
Marcus was forced to apply additional restraints to prevent her escape.
"Enhanced human," she said with growing clarity. "Your modifications are impressive, but they represent a dead-end evolution. Your species is sacrificing its essential humanity to compete with natural apex predators. You're becoming something that neither human nor Vexcari would recognize as worthy of existence."
Marcus considered her words while navigating toward the rendezvous point.
The enhancement process had indeed altered fundamental aspects of his personality and capabilities, creating something that transcended normal human limitations. Whether this transformation represented evolution or devolution remained a question that troubled his quieter moments.
Perhaps, he acknowledged.
But, we're becoming something capable of ensuring human survival against superior enemies.
Your empire forced us to transcend our limitations through necessity.
The retribution appeared through the storm clouds, its stealth systems flickering as damage from the pursuit created instabilities in the camouflage matrix.
Marcus noted scorch marks along the hull where Vex-carry energy weapons had found their target, though the alien armor had prevented critical damage.
His ship was wounded but functional. Orbital bombardment began as Vex-carry platforms detected the extraction operation, their energy beams carving furrows in the canyon walls around them. Marcus ran toward the landing ship while carrying the princess, his enhanced reflexes allowing him to anticipate and avoid the incoming fire. The princess's weight slowed his progress, but abandoning her would negate the mission's primary objectives.
Your ship is damaged, Zarathul observed as they approached the boarding ramp. Vex-carry pursuit will follow you across the system. They have enough firepower to destroy your vessel before you reach faster than light velocity.
Marcus secured the princess in the ship's detention cell while initiating emergency departure procedures. His neural interface merged with the retribution systems, allowing him to process tactical information at superhuman speeds. The pursuing patrol ships were indeed capable of overwhelming his defenses, but human engineering had provided solutions to this problem. The ship's experimental drive system activated with a harmonic resonance that seemed to bend space around them. Instead of conventional faster-than-light travel, the retribution simply ceased to exist in normal spacetime, reappearing instantaneously at a predetermined coordinate thousands of light-years away. The technology was poorly understood but remarkably effective, making pursuit impossible.
Princess Zarathul stared at the viewscreen in shocked silence as familiar stars vanished, replaced by constellations that her navigation systems couldn't identify.
"Impossible," she whispered.
"Instantaneous translation across galactic distances requires technology that doesn't exist."
Marcus monitored the ship's systems while setting course for the secret human facility where the princess would undergo extensive interrogation.
Your empire's understanding of physics is apparently incomplete. Human desperation combined with alien technology has produced capabilities that transcend your scientific paradigms.
During the journey, Marcus reviewed the intelligence gathered during his mission. The information confirmed humanity's worst fears about Vex-carry strategic planning while providing opportunities to disrupt their operations across multiple sectors. Enhanced operatives armed with this intelligence could strike critical targets before the Empire could adapt their defenses. The princess proved surprisingly cooperative during preliminary interrogation, her royal education providing detailed knowledge of Imperial capabilities and weaknesses. Marcus suspected that she was calculating opportunities for escape or subversion, but human security protocols had been designed specifically to contain enhanced prisoners. "Your enhanced operatives represent a paradigm shift in the war," she admitted during one session. "However, enhancement comes at a cost."
How many volunteers survived the modification process?
Marcus considered his response carefully. The enhancement program's mortality rate was classified information, but the princess might provide valuable insights about Vex-carry countermeasures if properly motivated.
"Enough," he replied. "More than sufficient to accomplish our objectives."
The conversation was interrupted by an emergency transmission from Human Command.
Long-range sensors had detected massive Vex-carry fleet movements across multiple sectors, apparently responding to reports of enhanced human capabilities.
The Empire was mobilizing for systematic extermination campaigns designed to prevent further technological development.
Marcus processed this information through his enhanced neural pathways, recognizing the strategic implications immediately.
His successful mission had accelerated the timeline for open warfare, forcing humanity to choose between hiding and fighting with their newly developed capabilities.
The princess's capture would provide invaluable intelligence for the coming conflict.
"The war enters a new phase," Zarathul observed, apparently monitoring the transmission through unknown means. Your people will discover that enhancement cannot overcome fundamental disadvantages in numbers and industrial capacity. The Empire commands resources from hundreds of worlds. Marcus reviewed the tactical data while considering her warning. Enhanced operatives possessed capabilities that transcended normal military limitations, but they remained individual weapons rather than strategic solutions. Humanity would need to leverage their technological advantages while building conventional forces capable of sustained warfare. The Retribution approached the hidden facility that would become the princess's new home, its defensive systems designed to contain even enhanced prisoners. Zarathul would provide intelligence about Vexcari capabilities while human scientists studied her biology and technology. Her cooperation would determine how comfortable her captivity became. "You've accomplished something remarkable," she admitted as they prepared for transfer. "One enhanced human infiltrated our most secure facility and extracted strategic intelligence that will reshape the entire conflict. However, success breeds overconfidence. Your people may discover that transcending human limitations also means abandoning human wisdom." Marcus secured the princess for transport while considering her words. The enhancement process had indeed altered his fundamental nature, creating something that existed between human and machine. Whether this transformation would ultimately serve humanity's interests remained an open question, but it had provided the capabilities necessary for survival against impossible odds. As they docked with the facility, Marcus reflected on the mission's broader implications. Enhanced operatives had proven their effectiveness against Vexcari supremacy, but the war was far from over. Princess Zarathul represented both a valuable intelligence asset and a symbol of humanity's evolving capabilities. Her capture marked the beginning of a new phase in the conflict, one where the rules of engagement had been permanently altered by human determination to survive and transcend their original limitations.